very good afternoon to all of you. I am Professor Naval Kishore from School of Management Studies, IGNOU, New Delhi. You have already studied about forms of business and various comparative analysis of forms of business organization. Today, I am going to discuss about criteria for the choice of business organization. With the comparative analysis, you have understood that none of the forms of business organization may be ideal in all respects. Each form of organization may be good in some respects and it may not be good in other respects. Therefore, a particular form of organization which is suitable in one situation may not be suitable in other situations. And suitability of form of business organization depends on the objectives of the particular business. Therefore, the decision regarding the choice of organization assumes importance in both the stages, that is, at the time of starting a business and at the time of expansion of the business. Let us see the criteria at the time of starting a business. The choice depends on first nature of business, because the organizational requirements are different for different types of business. For example, if you are planning to establish big cement manufacturing unit or you are planning to have a retail cement shop, both may require different organization. Another example is if you are planning to establish a textile mill or you are planning to set up a retail shop for the garments. Obviously, what type of nature of business you are planning to just start, it depends which small scale, large scale, big scale, or the industry or a small units, etc., etc. It depends on your objective. Next is volume of business. Obviously, if the volume of business is small, you may require a small amount of capital. There may be less risk involved in that, and for that purpose, sole proprietorship may be suitable for you. At the same time, if the volume is large, obviously that requires more capital and it involves more risk as well, and may be difficult for the sole proprietorship to cope up with both the situation. Therefore, partnership or company form of business may be suitable for that. Next is area of operation. If the area of operation is very limited to a particular locality, obviously in that case proprietorship would be suitable. If you want to have the widest spread area, in that case maybe joint stock company may be more suitable for you. Next is desire for control. You must be aware that if you have more desire to control over the whole range of the business activities, in that case maybe sole proprietorship or partnership form of business may be suitable for you. But if you feel that less control is required, in that case maybe the company form of organization may be suitable to you. Next is capital requirements. You are aware that a business which requires a small amount of capital may be organized by the sole trader or the partnership, but if the financial requirements are huge, in that case joint stock company may be preferred by you. Next is extent of risk and liability. If the promoters are determined that they want more risk, if they are ready to that, or if the entrepreneurs requires less risk or less liability. So depends. If you want limited liability, obviously in that case you may go for the company form of the business. If you want to have the unlimited liability, in that case you can think over about sole proprietorship. Next is government regulations. As you are aware that government also imposes regulations to the company as well as cooperative form of organization compared to the earlier, that is sole trader and partnership. So if you want that regulation, you may go for the company. If you do not want those sort of the regulation, you may go for the sole proprietorship. Next is criteria at the time of expansion. Here you have already established a unit. Now the thing is, if you want to expand it, if you want to modernize it, if you want to make the wider area of the business, in that case the several factors influence that. For example, what would be the need for the larger financial resources? What would be the criteria for the internal reorganization and controlling of the business? What about the specialized services like communication, accounting, marketing, auditing, etc., etc.? And you have to think about the government control and regulations. You have to think about the tax liability. You have to think about coordination and control of all the department of your business. Therefore, considering all these things, you may plan the expansion activities, maybe in the proprietorship or maybe in the partnership. Expansion may be the limited, but once you go for the joint stock company, then there is a scope for the larger amount of the finance, there is a scope for the larger recruitment of the professionals, there may be a scope for the new technology, there may be a scope for the new management, etc., etc. Depending upon that, you can plan for the expansion activity. Now, considering all these facts, you are now aware that a small business, for example, grocery stores, hairdressers, a small restaurant, hotels, a small auto workshop, stationery shops, confectionery, bakeries, dry cleaners, shoe manufacturer, a small electronics repair shop, barber shop, tailors, etc., etc. In that case, sole proprietorship would be suitable to you. Wherever there is a larger scale of the business, obviously you may go for the partnership form of the business organization. For example, auto workshop, larger restaurant hotels, large scale retail houses, medium scale industrial organizations, where partnership would be suitable, but where the risk or expansion risk may be limited and the wider capital may be required. For example, large business operations, the most suitable form of business may be public limited company. The large scale manufacturing plants, large transport undertakings, engineering and electronic companies, departmental stores, multiple shops, etc., etc., public limited company would be more suitable for that. And wherever the interest of a particular group of a society is required to be promoted, protected, etc., etc., in that case, cooperative form of organization may be more suitable to you. With this, now let us come to the another form of business organization, social enterprises. Now, of late, recently, social enterprises have emerged or are emerging important form of business organization which is linked with the social activities. If you see the social enterprises, and if you see the definition of social enterprises which has been given by the UK legal framework, it states that social enterprises as business with social objectives as primary mission. It means they should use their assets for public good and surpluses are to be reinvested in the business and community rather than redistributing among owners and shareholders. The companies which come under the jurisdiction of such a definition are community interest companies, limited companies, and industrial and provident society. If you analyze this definition, then you find that the primary objective is social, and you are focusing on the creation of the public good. Therefore, if there is any surplus, again that requires to be reinvested for the social purposes. If you see the definition of European definition, that is known as emergence of social enterprise in Europe, it states that social enterprises are not for profit private organization commenced by communities involved in production of goods and services, especially for the benefit of communities bearing high autonomy and full responsibility of their economic situation. Again, here also in this definition also, the focus is about the social goods and services for the community at large. There are two schools of thought in this if you analyze the US social entrepreneurship sector. Two schools are, one is social innovation school, another is social enterprise school. As far as social enterprise school is concerned, it postulates that fulfillment of social objectives with the aid of commercial strategies. That means you perform some sort of commercial activities, but with the aim of the society for the benefit of the society. That is your social objectives. As far as social innovation school is concerned, this school believes that social innovation is primary to social entrepreneurship, whether business-centric activities are conducted or not. That means here the social innovation has been given prime importance. Just a new way of doing the business which helps the society. So here, whether your business has the business activities or not, that doesn't make much difference. Social innovation is the most important thing, because at the grassroots level, at the society level, people must solve their own problem, and that too for the benefit of the society. If you see National Entrepreneurship Policy 2015, the Ministry of Skills and Entrepreneurship, Government of India, it states that social enterprises have emerged as important business instruments to address the issues of poverty, unemployment, and inequity in society through socially oriented business innovations. Social innovation seeks to answer these social problems by offering new products and services which allow the poor to interact with markets as active participants rather than passive recipients. If you analyze this definition, then you find that there are certain objectives here. For example, encourage university and academic institutions for the social entrepreneurship. That is, in the social, if you see the ministry's document, then you find that there is a need to encourage the social enterprises, and the following activities would be taken under the social enterprises. That is, social entrepreneurship should be encouraged that, and it should be encouraged across the country. Next is, there should be social capital market also, where the financial incentives should attract the investors. Similarly, there should be creation of social enterprises with modest capital base. Moreover, innovator must be encouraged, and university and institutions should also focus on the patenting if there is any good idea being emerging from the society. Next is focus should be on the creation of grassroots technology innovation, because that becomes the hubs, so that the innovation potentials should be identified and nurtured at the grassroots innovators level. Next is promotion of grassroots innovation and assist innovators. See, here you need to encourage the innovators, you need to commercialize those activities, you need to upscale their products and services. And there may be collaborative organization among the organization, so that the National Innovation Foundation is there, which encourages the grassroots technological innovation, and it tries to integrate the research as well as innovation ecosystem. Again, if you see Indian context also, the social enterprises have emerged as important business instruments. As you all know that it is related to the society at the grassroots level, therefore it has been emerging as an important business instruments. Next is these enterprises have been involved in addressing the issues related to poverty, unemployment and inequity. Look, you must be aware about the bottom of the pyramid level, because majority of the poor people, majority of the mid class people, they live in that bottom of the pyramid, and majority of them are very poor people. They may be having unemployment there, problems and issues of unemployment there. There may be inequity also. Therefore, social enterprises may be very much helpful in dealing with the issues of the poverty. That means if you do some sort of the business activities and you again reinvest the surplus of that business activities for the benefit of the society, there is a probability of poverty would be controlled and managed. Same way, some sort of employment would also be provided to them, and in the same way, the issues of inequity would also be dealt with. Next is, they are committed to the socially oriented business innovations. For example, if the problem is about ecology, for example, if the problem is about the environment, for example, if the problem is the dealing with the commercial business issue or the small sectors where the whole society may be involved there. People group, they may come there, they may work for the whole society, they may just prepare or manufacture some sort of the commodity, or fine arts and all that may be prepared on the cloths, and that may be again marketed at the local level. So what they are doing, the social sort of the business activities where the whole benefit is going to be society, the goods or services which have been manufactured, that may be marketed by that particular society, and in that way the social orientation of the business may be continued. Next is, social innovations may be used to explore answers to the social problems. As I gave you example, let's say there are some social sort of the art system, there are some sort of the pottery system, which may be in a particular area of the village or the tribal areas. Now those, let's say the potteries, now you can think over that how to manufacture that pottery in a much better way, how to market that pottery again in the market, so that the production level and the marketing level both may be taken care by that organization, and in that way the social innovations may be further encouraged, motivated, more people may be just joining that particular organization and they may serving to the society. Next is, they provide new products and services which help in dealing with the problems of the society. Obviously, when at the social level you are doing that, then maybe you may be just dealing with the new products or services at the society level. So that products or services may be very much useful in the particular society, in the particular village, in the particular unit. Now, for example, there is a tribal area, and in that tribal area, if you are providing the products or services, like the bamboo products, now that is suitable for the tribals, or that may be suitable for the local other sort of persons also, or that may be suitable for the people in the town also. So what you are doing, you are serving to the villages level also, and you are also supplying that product or services to the what is called the rural and urban both areas. Next is social enterprises primarily perform the social activities. Therefore, the society may get an opportunity to interact with social enterprises. Thus, they may become active participants. Here, one important aspect is there that as a part of the business activity, you also become, the customers also become the active participants there. That means both businesses, customers, both interact with each other in order to solve that problem of that particular society. So here, the party is not an passive participant, here party is an active participant. And if you see in India, if you see another part, then you find that even the Company Act 2013, it has made mandatory for companies with a net worth of 500 crore rupees or more, or a turnover of 1000 crore rupees or more, or a net profit of 5 crore rupees or more, to constitute a committee towards corporate social responsibility. And this act mandates that at least 2% of the average net profits made during the 3 immediately preceding financial years are spent in pursuance of the company's CSR policy. And this 2% expenditure for the purpose of education, finance, or any CSR activities, poverty, unemployment, etc., has become mandatory. Therefore, that also encourages the social enterprises. And if you find that most commonly stated objective of social enterprises in India are creating employment. That means employment creation activities are more focused on that social enterprises. Next is improving health. Next is protecting the environment. Next is addressing social exclusion. Next is supporting agriculture and allied activities. Next is empowering women. Next is promoting education. Next is addressing financial inclusion and supporting other organizations. So majority of the social enterprises in India are focusing on these activities. Therefore, in the social enterprises, the primary aim is social objectives. Profit is not the aim of such social enterprises. Their aim is to reinvest the profit in the same activities so that the social activities keep on growing. And it is not guided by the maximization of profits for shareholders and owners, rather it is the maximization of the social benefits to fulfill the social objectives. In this way, once this sort of the social enterprises are encouraged, obviously the major social issues may be dealt with, and moreover they participate actively for the social causes, for the social benefit. Therefore, this sort of business organization may be good for the society. Thank you very much.